There's got to be someone asking, they're like, well, how do I know if I've got more in the tank? You know when you had more to give, right? And you quit.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to die. Like, there are people that die in training. Got it. You're probably not going to die. And the military, believe it or not, as chaotic as it seems, whether it's Hell Week or it's selection or I know PJs and combat controllers go through a very horrendous training pipeline too. Very physically demanding. Marine recon, same thing. But they are so regimented. The instructors are held to such a high standard, whether it's we're taking temperatures of water or med checks or whatever it is. Like in selection, we're constantly talking to you. Like, let me hear you answer the question. But you can't comprehend all that because you're beat down and you're hungry and you're tired. And the Army does something the Navy doesn't do. The Army holds food from you. And that's horrible. The Army loves to make you hungry and tired and cold and wet and whatnot. The Navy, you'll be beat down, cold, wet, beat down, tired, but you're going to be fed. In the Army, they're like, yeah, we can hold food too. But I think if you can understand that you're going to be fine, like physically, you will be fine, which is very, very hard to understand that when you're going through that mental minefield of the training. But if you understand that, then you're more apt to push even further, because if you do drop, you're gonna be taken care of. Yeah. Very rare for people to die in training. It happens, but it's rare.
The person listening, there's probably someone shaking their head thinking, why do they have to be that intense? Why that level of selection? Why put somebody through that? What happens if you don't go through that level of just training, preparation, that level of intensity? Are you prepared?
I believe that when we are cold, wet, tired, hungry, tired, and then you start to train, it's because of combat. And so when you're in a TIC or troops in contact or you're in a firefight or whatnot, the minute that 762 starts cracking, your adrenaline takes over. And people talk about the fight or flight. And you can train fight, but it's very hard to train it. And it's very hard to get as realistic as actual combat in training. But the closest that we can get is they beat you down until there is nothing left of you as a man or a woman, and then you start to train. And the reason for that is when those rounds start cracking or people start getting hit and you got explosions going off, because an ambush is very scary. I mean, it's initiated by PKM, then RPGs, then mortar fire starts walking in because they go far, then they go near, and then they split the difference. When they split the difference, you're in trouble. But for you to be able to fight through that fog of war, you can't think through it because your mind shuts down and adrenaline takes over. So they call it muscle memory. And then you start to react on all of your training, but it's not training when it was warm. It was perfect. Your muscle memory is from when you were just beat down and you can't even remember how you trained. Like, what did we do? I don't even remember, dude. I was a zombie. But that's when you start training, and then all that training kicks in once that 762 starts cracking and RPGs are going off. And so that's why, we special operations is such rigorous, is because they have to get as close to combat as they can get. And when you're in a special operations community, you're more than likely going to be the ones that are going to deal with the brunt of combat. So that's, again, my belief is why we train the way we do.
And at the height of it, because I want you to quantify this in the sense when you say beat down and you're withholding sleep, it's like, is it an all-nighter and then withholding food? Like, when is the last time you slept and when's the last time you ate? Like, I guess to put in that scenario, like in that moment.
I mean, in training, I remember in selection, I think we counted up the total hours we slept, and it was a ridiculous amount. It was like getting 2 hours of sleep a night. And
which probably isn't that bad the first night or the second night.
Right. But it's not a straight 2 hours.
Yeah.
15 here, 30 here, because you're constantly moving, and then your calorie intake for what your body is actually putting out is so much higher. And And so, I mean, I don't have a direct, if I was an instructor, I would know because they know exactly like, all right, hey, we need to put them down for this amount. Okay, let's get them up. A few flashbangs. We're back going at it again. But going through the training, I mean, pulling a 72-hour with 3 MREs, all the water you can drink. Oh, they'll hydrate you. That's not a problem. But yeah, the Army likes to hydrate you to a point to where it's just obnoxious. But holding food and sleep and just beating you down, and holding dry clothes. Oh yeah, all day, every day. So
did it impress you? Like once you kind of realized like just what the human body could take and really endure. I think a lot of people don't really have an appreciation for just how much punishment you can undergo and like how long you can go without sleep, without food. Now your decision making is probably compromised.
Yeah.
You're, without a doubt you're a zombie, but you're still alive.
Yeah, no, the human body can take a lot. It was pretty surprising to me, especially, when the dust cleared at selection and we had just finished our 33-mile trek, and it was like, all right, dust is cleared. We're waiting to figure out who got selected and who was a non-select and whatnot like that. I was looking back to the best of my ability because, again, we were pulling probably like a 48-hour. But I do remember thinking, it's like, wow, like I had no idea I could do that. I just kept moving, just right, left, left, right, left, right. When I went through, we had a trek. And so selection differs from buds in one way, in many ways. Buds, a lot of water. Selection, you don't have to be a great swimmer, which is perfect for me because I found out in buds that I don't really like the water that much. But it differs in the yelling and screaming aspect. So at buds, it's very in your face. You're yelling and screaming and in that chaos, that fog of war. At selection, it's different. It's mental. So they'll put a whiteboard up and they'll write directions on it. And they're like, follow the directions. And it may seem easy, but you're like, well, wait a second. It just tells me to follow the cones. It doesn't give me a time limit. It just says, do your best. And follow the cones till I'm told to stop. And well, wait a second. What do you mean? Just do your best? Well, that doesn't make any sense. And then the other rules from the other day, don't talk to other students or what. And so it is, selection was very, very mentally tasking because there really is no yelling and screaming. It's just like, hey, do you want to be here? I mean, yeah, grab the log, man. I mean, follow directions. What'd the whiteboard say?
And you don't know if you're following cones for a mile or 30 miles.
Yeah. So like on the trek, we all war game selection. Students went through before. We're like, all right, it's probably going to be like 20 miles or something like that. Yeah, it's not a problem. And then, so we were just told to follow the cones. And next thing you know, I think the trek's 12 hours, something like that. Well, I can finally see the lights. It's still dark out. I can finally see the lights. So I'm looking up ahead and you see the finish point because we all have these GPS little trackers on us because you were so tired. People will just straight up walk into the woods. And I was just so tired, but I just kept following the cones, just left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. And I saw the lights. So, oh man, this is great. So adrenaline spikes again. And I start my little trot. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then I finally, and you can see the lights and they make it huge, bright, such an emotional thing. Like, I'm going to do it, man. I'm going to finish. And you can see, I start getting closer and there's the Gatorade buckets and bananas and all this stuff. But there's a whiteboard there. It's like, oh, maybe it's congratulations. And I get up there and it's like, do not stop. Continue following the cones. Are you fucking kidding me, man? I just did this. And guys quit just like that.
God.
Yeah. And I just was like, all right. So left foot, left foot, and just kept, and I maybe went another mile and a half, and then truck came and picked us up, and they're like, all right, you're complete. It's like, well, where were we following the cones to? Nowhere. You're done. Get in the truck.
Man,
put your rucks in the trailer. What? And that's a big thing with SF is it's mental. Like, do you want to be here? Oh, okay, that's cool. If you don't, man, it's not a problem. Yeah. Oh, you do? Okay, it's cool. It's not a problem. We'll see. Well, what do you mean we'll see? Oh, we'll see. Well, yell at me or something. Hit me. Like, what's up? No. You're a good dude. Yeah, we'll see.
Man.
What? And that's worse for me. Like, I can take all the yelling, screaming, and do this and do that. But well, I don't know. How do you think you did? Well, I mean, good. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. What? Well, did I do good? I don't know. Did you do good? No, come on. You got to stop, dude. It's bad. And like, when you're tired and hungry and all that, that really, and I've seen guys quit over words. Yeah.
I mean, because it sounds like it would have been easier if they just told you, hey, follow the cones for 30 miles, right? Because I think then all right, here I'm going to gauge my energy, like speed up, slow down. I remember we had Matt Frazier on the podcast. He was like 5-time CrossFit Games champ, and he was dominant. He said the most difficult qualifier they ever had was in the COVID year where they all had to qualify virtually and remotely. Yeah. So they said, hey, just do your best. But he couldn't see how anybody else was doing. Yeah. So it's like, well, if it's just me, then it's like, well, how am I going to gauge my effort through this? Yeah. And how did you do it? I mean, was it just one foot in front of the other? Because I imagine some of this was timed. You probably didn't know it was timed. Yeah. Right. So
it was all my lessons from Buds. And it was like, look, I don't know how I'm doing because they make a strict rule. Do not, if you're caught talking to other students during this evolution, you're gone. And they will. Like someone will be like, hey man, you good? Hey, you, roster number, whatever, back of the truck, you're done. You can't.
That's it.
You can't stop. You can't stop. And like the basic soldier instinct, like, oh man, my buddy's down right now. He's hurting. I need to check on him. You can't. Yeah. Why? Because can you follow directions? And that truck's there. I mean, they're not leaving him out there to die. The truck is right. They're watching it. But the minute you stop and like, hey, let me help you out. Now guys do it, but you got to be sneaky about it because we're human beings. But, I mean, for me, it was the lessons I learned at Buzz. It's like, look, I'm not going to stop. They're going to tell me I'm done. I am never going to say I'm done again. And I had to learn that lesson the hard way, which actually set me up for success to become a Green Beret because people are like, well, which one's harder? They're both hard, but it depends on how you go through the training. If you're mentally tough, you're going to be fine. If you're physically tough, but not mentally tough, you're not going to make it, either one. And they do that for a reason. And so, but I kept going because they were going to tell me to stop. I wasn't going to stop regardless of how fast I was. Cause on the trek, you're a zombie. You're not going fast. You look dumb, but it's just, you will tell me when I'm done. I will not tell me when I'm done. And that's what I learned from that.